Thanks so much for joining. My name is Sam Tennant. I'm a project coordinator with the Center for Applied Research and Engagement Systems, otherwise known as CARES. We are also under MU Extension. And today I'm just going to give you a quick general overview of allthingsmissouri.org. So today I'm going to show you how to access the Missouri Map Room data list and make a simple map. I'm going to show you how to access and generate a report. So hopefully you'll be exposed to some use cases and leave with a better understanding of the utility and possible applications within All Things Missouri. So as you can see on our front page here, we have these four main components. We have our maps, our reports, our tools and resources, and our news and events. Before we dive into making anything, I kind of want to show you this yellow button, this news and events is pretty new. It's been up for about a month. So if you've seen some previous webinars, you may have never seen this button before, but we've been pretty busy adding some things in, especially as we go to working from home. So under this news and events button, I'm going to show you a couple of the new tools we've added. So we have this what's new section, getting help with maps and reports, and then a webinar and training calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what's new first. So here at CARES, we are consistently adding in new data requested by Extension or the public. So this is a space where you can see what has recently been added. So checking on these check boxes here at the top, you can delineate between new map data we've added, new report indicators we've added, and just some other information. So even with us, they're updating things regularly. So this was updated the other day. Some new data, a new growing stress on the farm story map, some updates from us around COVID-19 and how we're tackling that issue. So if you've requested data from us, this would be a good space to check if it's been updated. So we also have this search engine here. So I can type in, as you guys know, a hot topic for us recently has been broadband. So we have a lot of new information coming in around broadband. So I can type that into the search engine and get all the new layers we've added around that topic. So we've added things like internet usage, broadband speeds, and then this little map link to the right will take you straight into the map room to look at that layer. So that's one of the new things I wanted to show you. Two other things real quick is this get help with maps and reports and our webinar training calendar. So we want you, so if you're ever stuck or just need a quick reminder of the step processes to the tools, we've made these quick PDF walkthroughs, these simple steps to make a finished product. I'm a visual learner and I often forget if I don't play around with these tools often, so I refer back to these PDFs. Or we've made these quick 45-minute like tutorial videos. If you ever need a quick reminder to see exactly how to go through our tools again. I'm going to be going through everything you'd see in these videos here, but these are a nice quick reminder. Feel free to share those and send those out to whoever you think would benefit from those. And then you all access to this page already to sign up for this webinar. But just so you can see sort of what's coming up ahead, like next month we have a health and safety impact area specific webinar. So it'll be really similar to this one, but it'll be using specific health and safety map layers, use cases, and specific health and safety report generation. So these are some of the things coming up. Thank you guys for attending this one here today. So that'll disappear here soon. All right, so now that we've gone through those, I'm going to head back to the home page. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody real quick. I heard some background noise. All right, so moving on to the map room. So you can either click on maps here or scroll down right underneath is going to be our maps section. So you can see we have here this slider with some different options. I'm going to spend our time today in this Missouri map room, but I did want to show you that we have a number of starter maps, which basically have pre-populated layers on them around specific topic areas. So you guys have like a starting point if you don't really know how to make something from scratch but want to get going. So we have things like mental health, housing, food deserts, financial debt, broadband, food access, community. As you can see, just kind of the list keeps going. So if you ever want to play around and get a running start with some of these specific topics, I recommend playing around in our map gallery like I just showed here. And then additionally, you can scroll to some of our other newer highlighted ones we have in the slider. But I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into the Missouri map room. I play with these tools all the time, so if I go way too fast, feel free to tell me to slow down. I'll try to slow my roll so you can kind of see what's happening. But right after you click on that Missouri map room, what happens is it lands you in our search data window. So currently within All Things Missouri, we have about 33,000 data layers that span across a variety of topic areas. There's 3 ways to search. You can use our search engine. We have browse by topic and browse by source. So starting with browse by topic, you can see that we've categorized those 33,000 data layers into these topic areas, these 5 categories here. So you can see if I click on these little carrots to the left, we'll drop down to more categories until I get down to what those individual data layers are. So as I scroll over these individual data layers, you can see that this I button sort of comes to life over here to the right. We always want you to have more information about the data layer you are on. So if you click on that I button, you get a description of the layer itself, the release date, the release cycle, the data type, what geographic unit it's in, and then most importantly, the source it came from. So this will come up quite a bit as you start playing with our tools, is we always want you to have valid information about the source it came from, when it came out, how it was collected, things like that. So that's one way to search, is to browse by topic. Another way to do it is to browse by source. So if you're interested in knowing where we get our data and what sources they come from, they are mostly national secondary data sources, but in All Things Missouri, we do have a number of state level agency data as well. We even have some extension data specifically. So as you scroll through, this is a much bigger list. We get our data from a lot of sources, but as you can see, it really works the same way as that browse by topic, these carrots. So you click down until you get down to those individual data layers. And I just happened to land on some broadband layers once again. So there's that I button, same information. We always want you to get more details about the layer itself so you know exactly what it's about. I always refer to these descriptions. Having so many layers sounds great, but when you want to show a specific story, having these descriptions will really help with that. And the simple way to add anything to our map is by clicking these checkboxes here to the left and hitting Add to Map in the bottom right corner. So probably the most traditional way is to use the search data window. Google's sort of conditioned us to function this way. So I'm going to go ahead and type in a keyword that I want to search. And given the COVID-19 situation, I've been kind of interested in looking at households with children. Just with schools closed down and people working from home, I'm just interested in seeing kind of how that looks right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this households with children, age 0 to 17 by county, which is from the American Community Survey and was collected from 2014 to 2018. Note that once you search, about 28 results popped up for households with children. So that's when this I button will come in play once again, start to get more details and scroll through pages. So we've also been able to sort this by best match or release date. So if I want the most popular used layer or something that pops up with the keywords, I can use best match. Or if I just want the most recent data, I can select release date. Luckily, this one's pretty recent, so I'm going to go ahead and click Add to Map. So as you can see, our layer has generated nicely and loaded into our map. So now that we have a layer in, I want to show you a couple ways you can move around. So over here to the left, we have these plus or minus symbols. Obviously, I can use the plus to zoom in. I can use the minus to zoom out. You can also click on the map and drag to specific areas you want to go. If you ever go way too far into somewhere you don't want to see and you get lost, when you click this home button right here in the middle, it'll take you straight back to the original extent, which is the state of Missouri. But over here to our right, this is our legend. We can do some additional work over here. We can enter specific locations. This can be anywhere from zip codes to actual addresses to full counties. So I'm going to go ahead and pick on Jackson County today and zoom in straight on them. So I always like to zoom out a couple just so I can see the surrounding counties. And here's our state line here in the middle. So additionally here in our legend, this is where you would be able to change your geography, your data type, and your transparency. So within that, I have this nice layer at the county level right now, and I can click on Jackson County just to verify I'm in the right spot. We get all the metadata within households with children. So we have percent of all households, our margin of error, the total households with children in Jackson County, 81,000, it's quite a bit. Or it's 282 total, but with children is 81, and then that's how we get our percentage. But additionally, we can change our geographies. So this is a layer that luckily has multiple geographies. So we can change to census tracts or zip codes. A lot of other layers will go even further. They'll have school districts or state congressional districts and things like that. But as you can see, as I hit census tract, it really changes on the map right there. And then we get into each individual census tract based on population. So I can click on one, get that same information specific to that area. This comes in handy when you're working on programming and generating reports for grants and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and change back to the county if I wanted to show that change. And then right now we're collecting for the percentage of households with children, and you can actually change to total. You'll see the number has changed as well as the color in our legend. And my internet is catching up as it starts to populate on the map. But as you can see, the information is still the same within. That's how we get that value there. I'm going to go ahead and change back to percent because it doesn't like that total. So we can also add other layers. You're not stuck to just one. So at this point, we have just one. I'm going to go ahead and type in, this seems relevant at the time, so I'm just going to type in something like hospitals. As you can see, all of these other 31 different layers pop up for hospitals, but I'm going to click on this all hospitals, which is a point of service from 2019. And as you can see, all of the hospitals in that region will pop up right on the map. And just like before, you can click on those points to get specific information. So here we have our St. Mary's Medical Center, which is in Blue Springs, Missouri. It has the provider type, number of certified beds. This will become important as this virus spreads. So right now we have households with children with all hospitals layered over that. Additionally, we can add things like supermarkets. If I want to know how many supermarkets are in my area as well, I just typed in the keyword into the search data window, and I'm just going to add this top one to start playing around and hit add to map. So now we also have every major supermarket within Jackson County as well. Get the address, zip code, and store name, which will come in handy. Something else I want to show is you'll want to often layer 2 polygon layers at one time. So if you start to craft a story or you have something specific you want to see, oftentimes you'll want to put in 2 layers at once. I started to show this transparency here and forgot to note, but you can see I can change the density of that color specific to that layer. 0 transparency will be all the way dark, and then we always keep it right about 30. But this comes in handy when you want to add in another polygon layer. So I'm going to add in something like children in poverty. That loads. Then just do this population below the poverty level by county. I'm going to add that to the map, and you can see the color starts to kind of change there. So I want to I can hit label in this checkbox here and turn the transparency all the way up so that layer doesn't show. So now I have our green layer, which is our households with children percent by county, and then our value, 13.8% of the population is below the poverty level. within there. This is also something you could probably change at different geographies, not with this layer specifically, but I did want to note that that is a function. So additionally, in our legend, there's this button in the top right here that has some reference maps. So if you're looking at an area you're not familiar with, you can add in things like place names. Those will pop up here shortly. So you start to see some of the major towns within Jackson County. You can add in highways if you're doing a specific correlation to roads and what's happening in your counties. And then we have state and county boundaries already on. You can put on place boundaries, which sort of outline the major metropolitan areas. In Jackson County, that's quite a bit, but as you start to scroll over into some of these other counties, you can see those boundary lines are a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those off because it's taking up some computation. And last but not least, we can always share and export our maps. So by hitting share, you can share this on social media or email. What's nice is if you want to show a specific topic, but the person on the receiving end doesn't want to add in the layers you had, you can share this specific link and it'll open this specific map. So you can start to play around that way. You also can export this data or this map by an image file or a PDF document. So if you wanted to put it in a presentation or add it to a grant application, this is how you would do that. We have some additional tools within our map room. I'm going to go through those in a different video, but I highly suggest playing around with these. You can search data within and extract it from a table. You can measure how big a farm is or how far a distance is from, say, a bus stop to like a farmer's market, something like that. You can add graphics like pointing arrows if you wanted to show a specific area. You can use our mask tool, which will just highlight specific areas. So if you were to take just Jackson County for a presentation, you can hide all the surrounding counties, like if you didn't want Kansas, for instance. And then there's a few others as well. So this is the map room. This is most of the functionality within there. I'm going to switch gears to a report. I'm going to open this up for questions at the end. So I'll leave this map open just for that. So I'm going to open up our homepage again and kind of demonstrate how to create a report. So you can either hit reports here or scroll down, and then we have our slider just like in our map section. As you can see, we have 4 different report types for the 4 different impact areas within extension. Each of these will have different data indicators specific to the work that's done in that impact area. So I highly suggest playing around in all of them. If there's a specific picture you're trying to paint and the indicator just isn't within your realm, feel free to reach out. We can let you know, but I highly suggest playing around with them like I mentioned before. Today, I'm just going to hop in the business and community report just because economically what's happening within our communities as well. I just want to show some of the layers that are in here if you need to help with any task forces within your counties and your extension councils. So what this does is it allows you first to select a location, then you pick your indicators, and you pick your report type. So you can come in here and you can search which counties you want to show. And you can just simply click on as many as you'd like that you want to report on. If you want to erase one, just click this red X to the left and take those off. So we've also added extension trios to report on, as well as entire extension regions. So I'm going to go ahead and pick an extension trio. I just picked on Jackson County, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to Cooper, Montauk, Morgan County. And so that's who I'm going to report on today, are those 3 counties. And then click data indicators here in the bottom right corner to move on to the next section. So this is when we'd select our data indicators. Here you can see we have a series of indicators categorized by demographics, income, workforce, and social factors. Here are those carrots you saw earlier to open up a menu. I'm just going to open them all up so you can kind of see what's within here. So under demographics, you can see we have a few indicators specific to demographics. We have things like change in total population, families with children again, urban versus and rural population, total, veteran, things like that. But as you can see, it's a simple checkbox like before. and then that same I button that came up. So we always want you to know the data attributes. So this is families with children, the attributes within that. We always have a link straight to the map room where you can put up specifically this indicator within the map room, which is a great running start as well if you didn't want to build a map from scratch. We have additional data by population groups, and then the sources are blocked because of how small my screen is with this screen share, but right under there would be a link to the data as well as some other resources as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. You can select all the indicators at the top of this button here. That's going to be a pretty big report. You can also pick just specific demographics. So I'm just going to select a few real quick within this just to show what it'll look like at the end. So within income, we have specific median family income, inequalities, personal, poverty levels. I'm going to go ahead and add all of these. Under workforce, we have things like different commute patterns, jobs and earnings by sector, migration patterns, unemployment changes. We'll probably see some changes in that with what's happening. And then social factors. And like I said, this is specific to business and community. So within health and safety or youth and family, you'd see a lot of health factors, environment factors, separate family demographics. But here's some social factors that are going to be across the board. Things like education, housing, food security, and insurance. So I'm going to go ahead and click all those as well. And once I'm finished and ready to move on to step 3, I'm going to click reports here at the bottom right. So we have a few report type options. Most likely you're always going to click on this comprehensive report in this open section here. But I did want to point out we have a quick facts. So if you just want a quick 1 to 2 pager, this is a great way to go. You can export this data into an Excel file to do some additional analysis if you feel so. And then our source and methodology appendix. So if you're writing a grant or a report where you'd like to cite some of these sources and data, we've done some of that citation work for you right in this section. So I'm going to go ahead and click open on our comprehensive report. And as you can see, it'll probably take a minute to load, but it opens up into the business community indicator report. This is the location we're reporting on, these 3 counties here. And then the first indicator we loaded was the change in total population. So within every indicator will be what we call a stem sentence. So this will be a summary of everything you see in this table, but in sentence form with the data that was collected within the table, which is pretty nice with grant writing or just showing these as presentations. You get this nice summary sentence, and then also the data table itself. So this report location will be an aggregate of our 3 counties we're reporting on totaled. Then you'll get the individual county values themselves. That way you can benchmark those to the state of Missouri, and then you can benchmark it to the rest of the United States. Within every data indicator, we have show more details. We always want you to know the methodology and the resources and sources behind the specific indicator. So if you want to know the calculation to the change in total population, that's how you can cite that there. As well as you can always pop this up straight into the map room. So because of my broadband at home, it's taking a minute to load, but essentially the green and purple layers would be right within there, and you can open that into the larger map room. Anytime we can break out by populations with gender, race, ethnicity, and age, we will with these bar charts, as you can see here. And then in the bottom right, we have this hamburger menu, which allows you to jump straight to specific indicators you want to see. And as you can see, because I clicked so many, it's still kind of loading. But I'm going to go ahead and click on children eligible for free and reduced price lunch. So we have multiple different data visualizations within each. So over here, you can see we have this dial, so you can get a glimpse of how you're doing specifically to that indicator to the rest of Missouri and the US. So within that report location, you can see that there's a higher number of children eligible for free and reduced price lunch compared to the rest of Missouri. And these are the values that created this summary here. You can always get more details like before. There's the map room. And then we also have trends over time for specific indicators. So we find value in looking at if programs were shut down or if grants were no longer. These are sort of the trends you can look at here. And all of our visualizations are interactive. So you can turn off things if you wanted to specifically look at Cooper County, how the children eligible for reduced price lunch has gone over the last, since 2010 to 17. You can see there was a rise in 2013. So it was a program in place that is no longer, that created it to rise, things like that. Start to ask those questions. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll right back to the top just because we're getting close to our time. As you can see, you can download this as a PDF and share it to wherever you like. Just like our map room, you can share this on social media or via copy and paste this link here to share. You can print this, or you can export the data into an Excel sheet to do some additional analysis or add in your personal data as well. So we have a few minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and stay on past if you have any specific questions. But these are the main functions within All Things Missouri, are the map room and the report types. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions now. So feel free to ask if you have anything.